In sunny Miami, in 2008, the life of Angel Carter, a young and charismatic nurse, is turned upside down. Her charm and dedication won the hearts of many, but everything changed when she met Alex Lewis, an affluent older man. Despite the significant difference in years, their relationship was literally on the upswing, leading to a lavish wedding that many considered momentous. However, the idyll was broken by a terrible event. Just a few days after the celebration, Angela died under unclear circumstances. Her passing saddened everyone, but also raised questions about the causes of this tragedy. Angela Carter, with her 20s, was the epitome of tenacity and determination. Growing up in an ordinary middle-class family, she understood the importance of education and work from an early age. All her life, she was a model daughter, an excellent student in school, and a caring friend. This made her popular among her peers and encouraged her to strive for greater things in life. At school, Angela excelled in all subjects, consistently ranking among the top students. But it was not only good teaching that set her apart, but also her genuine concern for her friends and teachers. Angela was not fixated on her studies. She was also actively involved in school activities. She was a member of many clubs, participated in charity events and community projects, giving her time and energy to help those in need. As an adult, Angela was known not only for her academic achievements, but also for her striking appearance. She had expressive eyes, a charming smile, and a natural beauty that attracted the eyes of men. But what made Angel truly appealing was not only her looks, but also her kindness, warmth and friendliness. Everyone who interacted with her felt her sincerity and caring. When Angel decided to dedicate herself to working in the healthcare field, it was not a spontaneous decision. From an early age, she had a passion for caring for others. She felt happiest when she saw the smiles of those she helped. This is what shaped her professional path. With perseverance and dedication, Angela completed her nursing degree and became a promising young professional. On the job, Angela was not only a talented nurse, but also a great co-worker, always willing to help her co-workers when needed. Her dedication to patient care was admired by all. Every time Angel walked into a hospital room, she brought with her not only medical care, but also hope and comfort. For her, being a nurse was not just a job, but her life's mission. Despite her professional success, Angel deeply longed for a stable life and a happy family. Her biggest goal in life was to create a warm family where she could give love and care to her husband and children. Although she had many suitors, Angela was always looking for a mature man who could give her the stability and love she so deeply desired. Angela Carter was the epitome of both outer and inner beauty, an ideal woman with simple but meaningful dreams. In contrast, Alex Lewis, 50, grew up in a family with a solid educational foundation. Born into a middle-class family in Miami, Alex was well educated from a young age. His highly educated parents always emphasized the importance of learning and encouraged Alex to develop independent thinking, which helped him become a sharp and intelligent person. From an early age, Alex provided a keen business sense. After graduating with a degree in business, he began his career in finance. Thanks to his natural talent and quick judgment, Alex quickly moved up the career ladder. He started investing in property, shares and other sectors, gradually building a solid foundation. By the age of 30, Alex was a self-made millionaire, and by the age of 40, he had amassed vast wealth and earned a reputation in the business world. Alex was known not only for his financial success, but also for his great influence in society. He regularly attended charity events and lavish parties, becoming one of the most prominent figures in Miami's elite. People admired Alex for his intelligence, leadership skills, and vision. He was a symbol of success and an example to many in the business world. However, behind his successful facade, Alex always hid deep complexes and anxiety. The wealth and fame he achieved were not enough to erase his constant worries. Alex constantly felt pressure to maintain his position, fearing that one mistake could destroy everything he had built. The pursuit of perfection became a burden to him, leaving him in a constant state of stress. Despite having it all, wealth, fame, and power, Alex felt a deep emptiness that he found difficult to share with others. Although he tried to hide these feelings by immersing himself in work and social events, The emptiness always haunted him. Angela Carter and Alex Olwis met one beautiful afternoon on the beach in Miami. This chance meeting was the beginning of their dark relationship. Alex was impressed by Angela's striking beauty and could not take his eyes off her. Her youth and carelessness as if hypnotized him, making him forget about his fears and doubts. Despite the 30-year age difference, Alex was 50 years old, reserved and majestic, and Angela was only 20, full of vitality. The age gap did not seem to be an obstacle to their developing relationship. Alex saw Angel as a toy that could be tamed and used for his own purposes. He liked her naivety, her inability to see his true nature. Alex, with his years of experience, was used to keeping his emotions under control and distancing himself in personal relationships. But Angela was no mere victim. She was skilled at manipulating people. She quickly realized that Alex's lab was before her charms and that her youth and beauty could be a weapon. Their relationship grew quickly, but not out of love, but out of mutual benefit. Alex was attracted to Angel's freshness and innocence, while Angel felt safe and admired Alex's maturity. It was a faux pas on both sides. Alex didn't see Angela as an innocent girl, but saw her as an object of his desire and an opportunity to satisfy his selfish needs. Angela saw Alex not as a mature man, but as a rich sponsor who could provide her with a comfortable life. Their long conversations on the beach gradually turned into more private dates. They walked together under the moon, enjoyed romantic dinners, and shared their innermost feelings. But these feelings were only a mask behind which hid malice, cunning, and guile. Gradually, the relationship went beyond friendship, and they began to have real feelings for each other. But it was a lie. Soon Angela discovered that she was pregnant. This was not a joy for her, but a way to increase her power over Alex. Alex, in turn, was terrified of the responsibility. He realized that his life would change forever, that he would have to face the weight of parenthood. He was not ready for that, and his confidence began to crack at the seams. Alex Lewis and Angel Carter's wedding took place a few months after the start of their relationship, much to the surprise of many due to their age difference. But this wedding was not a celebration of love, but the conclusion of a shady arrangement where each of them were looking for their own gain. As the wedding day approached, Angel's excitement and joy contrasted sharply with Alex's heavy and anxious mood. He saw Angel not as a beloved wife, but as an obstacle to his happiness. He did not want to take responsibility for her life and the child's future. The wedding day was held at a luxury resort hotel on the beach, the same place where they first met. Angela looked radiant in a snow-white gown, her beauty dazzling everyone present. She was beaming with a smile, holding tightly to Alex's hand as they walked down the aisle. However, those who were close to Alex noticed that something was off from the very beginning of the ceremony. Alex was tense. He was restlessly adjusting his tie, looking around, and at times seemed to be immersed in his own thoughts. Every time someone came up to congratulate him, he responded with a strained and unnatural smile. Alex's close friends were puzzled by his behavior, but kept quiet, assuming it was just the usual pre-wedding nerves. But it wasn't just nervousness. It was a dark premonition of what awaited him. As he stood before the priest to say his vows, Alex's anxiety became even more apparent. His hands trembled, his voice sounding uncertain as he repeated the words. Every now and then his gaze wandered around the audience, as if he was looking for an escape or some sort of confirmation. But there was none, and he knew he had no choice but to complete the ceremony. Despite her happiness, Angela couldn't help but notice Alex's strange behavior. She squeezed his hand tightly, trying to express support and encouragement, but her efforts only made Alex more nervous. She didn't understand why he was acting this way, but she told herself that everything would be fine when they started their new life together. After the ceremony was over, when they exchanged vows, Alex still couldn't hide his anxiety. While everyone around them toasted and celebrated their happiness, Alex Bristow stood there, a blank look in his eyes, a strange smile on his face. These unusual gestures not only bothered Angel, but caused many of the guests to start whispering. Deep down, Alex probably knew that he was not ready for this marriage. He felt the pressure of social responsibility and Angel's pregnancy that forced him to move forward with no other option. But that responsibility couldn't dispel his anxiety. And the wedding day, which should have been the happiest day of their lives, turned into a stressful day for Alex. When the ceremony was over and the guests left, Alex was relieved, but anxiety still pressed in on him. He wondered if he could handle the responsibility, if marriage to Angel would really bring them both happiness, or if it was just a hasty decision that he would pay for later. These questions continued to swirl around in his head, overshadowing the joy of their wedding day. So, with doubts about the future, what seemed like the beginning of a happy life quickly turned into a series of tense days between Angel and Alex. From the very first moment after the ceremony, when the door to the marriage suite closed behind them, the atmosphere between them was heavy, full of anxiety. Unspoken words, emotions that had been held back throughout their courtship, and wedding day began to surface. After only a day together, petty conflicts erupted. Angela, with her optimism and expectations of a sweet marriage, didn't understand why Alex behaved cold and aloof. She felt hurt when she realized that he was no longer as enthusiastic and affectionate as he used to be. Meanwhile, Alex was burdened with unresolved worries and pressures, feeling overwhelmed by the responsibility of marriage and Angel's expectations of him. Quarrels started over the smallest things, a word said at the wrong moment, an unfriendly look, or just a long silence between them. Their different views on life gradually began to show. Angela dreamed of a cozy family life, where she could fulfill the role of wife and future mother. She expected Alex to share his plans and dreams for the future with her. But Alex, with his unstable state of mind, could not fulfill these expectations. He felt that the marriage had happened too quickly, too suddenly, giving him no time to prepare for it mentally. The first serious argument broke out when Alex, in a fit of indecision, expressed his fears and feelings of discomfort. But Angela was not someone who was willing to listen and understand. She only saw Alex as a source of wealth and power. Angela, in a fragile state due to the rapid changes in her life, reacted violently. She felt betrayed and distrustful when she realized that Alexei had fully shared her true feelings with her. The tension between them was building, and every conversation seemed to make things worse. Angela was not ready to tolerate Alex's doubts and his indecisiveness. Just 3 days after the wedding, Alex always found himself trapped in a situation he wasn't ready for. What was originally a mutual attraction between him and Angela had now turned into a burden he couldn't get rid of. With each passing day, the stress and pressure of his new marriage only added to the suffocating feeling. Formerly a successful and confident man, he was now faced with nameless fears and dark thoughts that began to invade his mind. Alex Bone realized that if he wanted to escape this situation and return to the peaceful life he once had, he would have to go to extreme measures. The idea of getting rid of Angel was just a passing thought at first, but soon turned into a clear plan. He knew that if he didn't take action, his life would forever be tied to a marriage he never truly wanted. Alex's plan started with him looking for a way to make Angel's death look like an accident. He knew she didn't have heart problems or other serious illnesses, so her death had to look like an unforeseen tragedy. Alex began researching drugs and substances that could cause a false heart attack without leaving obvious signs. He even contemplated how to make sure that when she died, it would be considered an accident or natural death so that no one would suspect him. After a few days of deliberation, Alex resolved to use an embolic drug, a substance that, if administered in the right dose, could cause a false heart attack in a healthy person without leaving visible marks. He had prepared carefully, thinking through every possibility, and had found a way to approach Angel without arousing her suspicion. Throughout this process, Alexis maintained a calm facade, continuing his normal life and even showing more care and attention to Angel than usual so that no one would suspect that he was up to something terrible. On that fateful night, Alexei and Angel had their usual conversation before going to bed. Angela, although she sensed that something was wrong in their relationship, could never have guessed that the husband she trusted was plotting to kill her. After Angela fell asleep, Alex proceeded to put his plan into action. He carefully dissolved the poison in a glass of water he had left by Angel's bedside. When she woke up in the middle of the night and drank the water as usual, the poison began to enter her system. When Angel showed the first symptoms, Alexo stood motionless, pretending not to notice anything. He listened to her labored breathing, felt her body twitching convulsively, but remained calm. He knew that if everything went according to plan, She would pass away, and no one would be able to discover the true cause. As expected, Angela stopped breathing after a few minutes. The next morning, when Alex Burrose came round and found Angel lifeless beside him, he sat silently for a while, trying to calm himself down before taking the next step in his plan. With trembling hands, he picked up the phone and called the police. His voice was filled with carefully planned panic. "She's not breathing. My wife Angela, she's not breathing," Alex said, trying to sound as natural as possible, as if he really was facing a terrible surprise. "Please come immediately." As soon as they received Alex Lewis' call, the police quickly arrived on the scene, at the house where Angela Carter had died suddenly. As they entered the house, a cold, heavy atmosphere enveloped them, reflecting a deadly silence that had not been there just a few hours before. Alex, pretending to be a shocked and grieving husband, tried to explain his wife's sudden death, but his suspiciously calm demeanor raised concerns among some officers. Police launched a preliminary investigation at the scene. Initially, they found no obvious signs of violence. There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence that Angel had been physically attacked. However, some small, seemingly insignificant details began to catch the investigators' attention. These details, like the disparate pieces of a puzzle, gradually formed a more complex picture. When the medical examiner performed an autopsy, he found a small amount of a foreign substance in Angel's system. While this wasn't enough to draw an immediate conclusion, it raised the first suspicions that there might have been outside interference. They decided to widen the scope of the investigation, including a thorough search of the house and interviews with all those involved. However, there were no clear findings in the first few days. Throughout the investigation, the police noted small details in Alex's behavior. Although he seemed upset, there were times when his composure seemed unusual, as if he was trying to hide something. Officers decided to investigate Alex more thoroughly, and what they discovered began to steer the investigation in a new direction. The trial of Alex Lewis in late 2008 attracted widespread public attention. Formerly a wealthy and successful man, Alex stood before the justice system, forced to face punishment for the crimes he had committed. The trial chamber was tense from the start of the trial when the prosecution began to present evidence against him. The prosecutor skillfully built the case by presenting irrefutable evidence that Alex actively had planned the murder of Angel Carter. The evidence included receipts for large purchases of sleeping pills, autopsy results showing traces of poison in Angel's system, and Alex's unusual phone calls and financial transactions in the days leading up to Angel's death. The prosecutor pieced together the evidence, painting a picture of a cold and premeditated murder. At first, Alex maintained that Angel's death was an accident. He repeatedly insisted that he had no intention of harming his wife, and that he had bought sleeping pills to help her relax from the stress of daily life. Alex's defense lawyer also tried to sow doubts about the reliability of the evidence, arguing that it was insufficient to find Alex guilty of murder. However, prosecutors left no stone unturned. They went on to present even more incriminating evidence, including testimony from people who knew about the strained relationship between Alex and Angel, as well as Alex's strange behavior before and after Angel's death. The weight of the overwhelming evidence began to take its toll on Alex as the trial approached its finale. Psychological stress grew and Alex began to show signs of weakness. Eventually, under the weight of facts and compelling evidence, Alex could no longer deny the truth. He admitted that Angel's death was not an accident, but the result of a carefully orchestrated plan. Alex's guilty plea caused a tense silence in the courtroom. Everyone watching the proceedings, both inside and outside the courtroom, was shocked by the brutal truth. Alex, once a symbol of success, was now exposed as a criminal who had been ruined by his own ambitions and fears. At the conclusion of the trial, the judge had no choice but to sentence Alex Lewis to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This decision was not only a punishment for murder, but also a warning of the consequences of the power of greed and selfishness over a person. With the trial over, Alex walked out of the courtroom in silence, facing the rest of his life in prison, where he would have to live with the guilt of what he had done. The case of Alex Lewis and Angel Carter was a tragedy that left a deep mark on the Miami community. The death of a promising young woman who dedicated her life to caring for others, and the downfall of a man who had everything became a cautionary tale about the dangers of relationships built on deception and manipulation. Although justice was ultimately served, the pain and sadness surrounding Angel Carter's death will never fully subside. The case remains one of the most